Hogville's Dudley Dawson with us here on Halftime. Dudley, always good to hear from you. What you got going on today?
Oh, not much. Watching the ladies Razorbacks softball team for 1-0 in Rutgers in a sunny Cathedral City, California, where they're wearing short sleeves and shorts. So,
Dudley, what'd you make of the game last night? The effort was there, and then when we're thinking about next year's team and we're going to try to compete, what kind of piece are we? Are we missing? Are we just a piece away? Because you hear Coach Z say we're close. You know, are we a piece away? Or are we a little farther than one piece away?
You know, if I knew who all was going to stick around, maybe I could answer that question a little bit better in today's transitionary, college landscape. You don't know who's going to stay, who's going to go. If you did get back to people that you could, I think you're still going to have a low post presence. I think that's a big thing that they need to have. Also, I mean, I know people probably get tired of me talking about Joseph Pinion, but he keeps hitting outside shots for Arkansas State, and that's just something that's missing on this team. I think for the most part, your two guys that you thought were going to carry you, at least be your better players, John L. Davis and Jonas, they do just have not lived up to the hype, or lived up to what they've done at other places. And last night, again, a good effort. But man, they find ways to lose ball games at the end instead of win them, except for that road trip to Kentucky and Texas.
What can you put on that on? Is it not enough players? Is it just that's what this team is? Is it a chemistry thing? I mean, I remembered mentioning it yesterday. Just because of the minutes that guys who are playing well have to play, maybe it shouldn't be a surprise that they fade against deeper, better teams late in the second half.
Yeah, and it may sound like a broken record, but I thought that this team, and certainly Coach Cal has done a great job coaching in his career. He's a Hall of Famer. He knows more about basketball or gotten more about basketball than I know probably. But I do think the construction of this team didn't end up the way that they wanted. If you'd gotten Liam McNeely, I think I've mentioned him before from UConn. Some of those other guys would have rounded out this team better. I do think that, whether they're a piece away, a couple of pieces away, it just didn't work out for whatever reason. What a bad year to not be as good as you could be in the SEC, because if they could get 7 or 8 wins, they'd get in the tournament. And but they're not going to look. I don't think they're going to look back at Auburn. I don't think they're going to look back at some of the near misses. I think they're going to look back at losing to Oklahoma and losing to LSU down there. That's going to be the ones that keep them out of the tournament.
Yeah, you might be right. Let's look forward now to these 5 games. You get Missouri and Texas at home. What does Missouri? What is kind of their strengths? What's Missouri identity? What are we going to have to do to beat this Missouri team on February 22nd?
Missouri can absolutely put the ball in the basket. I mean, what they score 108 last night against Alabama in a game that I had on a different TV. They were just going up and down. I mean, what a job by Dennis Gates, from 0-19 when you count the SEC tournament loss they had, to being as good as playing as good as anybody right now in the league. And I know that the Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee and others have played really well, but Missouri has just kind of flown under the radar a little bit and has been a tremendous club this year. That's certainly not going to be an easy game Saturday for Arkansas, but it does offer you the opportunity, if you do beat them, to put that notch on your resume. That's
the seven get us in, you think, or do you think if you beat a team like Missouri, 6 could get you in?
I don't know about 6, man.
Yeah, I think 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think 7's iffy, but all these so-called experts seem to think it is because of the strength of the league. And if you get to 7, you will have gotten 3 really good wins, I think.
Is this like baseball, where you get a team? Just think of the 2022 baseball team struggling at the end of the regular season. We go on the road as a 2 seed, and then smack the ball all over the ballpark against Oklahoma State, finished third in the country in the College World Series. Not a lot of folks saw that coming, but when you play in the SEC, if you're competitive, you could probably beat anybody in the country. Is that what basketball is right now? If you find a way to get into the tournament, if you're struggling in this league, well, you're good enough to make a run?
I think so. We could go down the list, at least the top half for sure, of the SEC. In any of those 8 teams, it wouldn't surprise me if they made a run to the Elite Eight, maybe a little farther. From just what is it they always say, iron sharpens iron. That's got to be the case this year. You will have seen everything you can in terms of style of play, in terms of competitiveness in the regular season before going into the tournament. You're not going to be surprised, and it's just going to be, are you going to put the ball in the basket, and you're going to play defense for any SEC team or anybody else? There's no absolutely great basketball team out there. I know the experts want to toss out Duke, but I've seen Duke not play as well as they need to at times, and the ACC is really down.
Hey, Dudley, I know you're an NBA fan. I am too, and it's starting to heat up a little bit. Your boy, my boy, loves some Bobby Portis. He's going to be on the shelf for a few games. I kind of want to get your thoughts on that. And then also, what's the difference between load management and everything? The Spurs are shutting down Wemby for the season, and I think that if they were in it, they would still play him, but they're shutting him down trying to get a better draft pick as well.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on too, and I know it's probably a valid thing, but it's one of those things that you would play through if you had a chance to win it all. If you were in position to do that, he's a great player, and he's going to be a transitional one, throughout the rest of his career. But yeah, that does look a little.
There's no way they get Cooper Flagg, huh?
Yeah, no,
that would be wild.
You have to go a ways. Washington really has that set up, and I mean, I know you can get in the lottery and all that, but that you might be able to get 2 or 3 though.
I don't know. This seemed to work for the Spurs one time. I remember, what was that, 30 years ago? How many ping pong balls did they have in there when they landed Tim Duncan? This is
like
worked
a
before.
1.9% chance or something. Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time I saw Tim Duncan, he was in the 10th grade at the Nike All-American Camp in Indianapolis. I thought, that guy's going to be pretty good. And he turned out to be.
You weren't at a swimming camp? Because he was a
Fiji,
really good swimmer, too.
Swimmer for Fiji, but he played 3 years of college ball. People don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah. He played 4 years at Wake.
Play all 4? I knew he played 3.
That was a big deal when he didn't come out as a junior. I still remember that. Yeah, so it's worked for the Spurs before. What's to say that it doesn't now? Dudley brought up in the last segment, first spring training game today, Cubs-Dodgers, which means automatic ball strike challenge system. What do you think of the challenge system? And do you find this to be a slippery slope that we're at some point going to go to a full automatic system, or do you think they stick with the challenge?
Oh, I think it's headed that way. And it, as you said, it's a slippery slope. And I'm a little tentative about it, but I'm going to do it this. I thought the whole speeding the game up was kind of silly, and now I love it. Everything that's involved in it. So I'm going to just kind of sit here and watch it play. Me and my new little puppy will have the Dodgers and the Cubs on this afternoon. I just can't get enough baseball, softball, and all that. So but I can't. We're going to take the element of arguing out, or because it's not going to be the umpire making the call down the line. It's going to be some.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to need members of the media to get thrown out of games and get into arguments with umpires, because it ain't going to be the managers or head coaches anymore, and that's just too bad.
It certainly has happened in Little League and stuff.
Yes, it has. It's usually the parents. It is usually the parents, though. Hey, we got the special ceremony at halftime Saturday against Mizzou with the 1990 Final Four team coming in. We've had Todd Day and Daryl Hawkins on our shows yesterday. What did that 1990 Final Four team mean to you and to the fan base overall as Nolan's first Final Four team?
Yeah, a couple of things. It proved that style of play could get you to a place that a lot of the talking heads said it couldn't. His system and getting in there. And I would tell you this: you've got to give the 1994, 1995 teams credit, for winning the national championship and getting back into it. But man for man, that 1990 team may have been the best one that I've covered in 40 years.
They just that juggernaut. What was UNLV? The running Rebs with Larry Johnson and Stacey Ogman. I mean that squad. I know they were deeper, but man, that was what. Isn't that the comment where he said you better get some men if you want to come?
Oh yeah, Larry Johnson, February 10th, 1991. It'll always be easy for me to remember because my 3-year-old daughter didn't understand why I was going to cover a basketball game at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Just feels like a one-off kind of a thing, though. You see this in women's basketball, though. Some barnstorming that UConn does. UNLV had to do some of that same stuff to get out of their conference and play in some of the other stronger conferences too, right?
Right. Hey, it's going to be an angry bunch of South Carolina Gamecocks down there tonight, don't you think?
Oh, man. I saw the line, Dudley's like 40.5 points. And Dawn's got a team where like nobody's in the top 10 or top 15 of any of the categories, but everybody's scoring at least 5 points or more, and no one's playing more than 23 minutes. She's got such a well-oiled machine here, but it's funny. I had to laugh at this, Dudley. This had to make me laugh. After they lost to UConn, and admittedly they got blown out, it was in their home building. Dawn Staley says after the game, "I feel bad for our fans." And I thought to myself, could you give me just the tiniest little break? Let's be honest about this here. Your fans have nothing to complain about, but, they
deserve the 72nd home win in a row. I mean, they deserve it.
Exactly. I feel bad for our fans. It's the first loss they've watched in person in like 8 years. Give me a break. But you never know what coaches are going to say. Dudley, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on. Thanks, man.
You bet. Enjoy it.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.